Good evening, you are watching The Global Eye with me, Masumi. Cooperate with India or lose the game, a blunt warning out of Helsinki. Finland's President Alexander Stubb speaking alongside Lithuanian President Gitanas Nausėda on September 2, 2025 called for the West and especially the United States to adopt a more cooperative and dignified foreign policy toward the global South with a strong emphasis on India. His exact words, "We are going to lose this game if we do not cooperate, especially with India." This warning came on the heels of the SCO summit in Tianjin, where leaders like Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin shared a global stage that underscored a major power shift. Stubb's message and why it matters is important. Alexander Stubb's comments were not casual. They were clear diplomatic message directed at Washington and its allies. His emphasis on dignified diplomacy signals the need for predictability and mutual respect in dealing with rising powers like India. The timing is critical. India is increasingly viewed as a swing state in shaping the 21st century order, balancing ties between the US and blocs like SCO and BRICS. The Tianjin SCO summit showcased India's growing clout. The optics of Modi standing alongside Xi and Putin were carefully curated to send a message. India has options. Stubb's remarks underline that if the US fails to engage respectfully and strategically with Delhi, it risks ceding influence to rival powers. And the Trump factor? Policies that push India away. Donald Trump's current trade strategy is hitting India hard. The administration recently imposed a 50% tariff on a wide range of Indian exports, including gems, jewelry, textiles, industrial chemicals, and consumer goods. This was a sharp escalation from a previous 25% tariff, making India one of the hardest hit trade partners. In Washington, this move is being sold as protecting American manufacturers. In Delhi, however, it is seen as punitive and unfair, soaring trust between two nations that were once strengthening their strategic partnership. There are ripple effects. India is showing or pausing certain US defense purchases, including key equipment like Stryker armored vehicles, Javelin missiles and Boeing aircraft. Tariff escalation has disrupted plans for deeper collaboration in space, semiconductor, the growing need of the hour, manufacturing and critical tech co-production. India is increasingly leaning on its strategic autonomy policy, hedging closer to alternative financing through BRICS and SCO, while warming relations with Europe, the Gulf and Asia. India's role as a global swing state is worth to note. India is no longer just a trade partner, it is a geopolitical pivot. Its decisions directly influence maritime security, tech standards, energy flows, and regional power balance, particularly in countering China's rise. For the US, losing India's trust means losing a major consumer market and supply chain base. Allowing rival blocs to set global standards in AI, 6G and cybersecurity, and weakening Quad initiatives that were designed to ensure a free and open Indo-Pacific, and reducing American influence over critical energy trade as India explores oil and gas deals settled in yuan or rupees, challenging dollar dominance. How the US risks losing the game. If Trump continues his tariff-first, partnership-second approach, America faces 6 major risks. Trade diversion. India strengthens economic ties with China, Asia and the Gulf while the US firms lose access to its massive market. Defense decoupling. India diversifies defense sourcing, undermining years of US-India military interoperability. And the tech realignment, India may tilt toward European or homegrown regulatory standards, cutting US firms out of the fastest growing tech market. And the narrative loss, SCO and BRICS gain legitimacy as India appears open to their leadership, portraying Washington as coercive and punitive. And of course, there is the energy shifts. India growing non-dollar trade arrangements could slowly chip away at US dollar hegemony. And the talent pipeline disruption. Worth to be noted, strained relations could impact Indian student visas, tech talent and startup pipelines, assets that drive US innovation. What Stubb is really advising Washington, dignified diplomacy, isn't about weakness. It's about mutual respect and strategic engagement. Washington needs to de-escalate tariffs, open targeted trade negotiations, and offer India meaningful incentives, market access, co-production of critical tech, and predictable defense partnerships rather than public pressure campaigns. If the US continues to treat India as a trade rival, it risks alienating a partner that holds the key to balancing power in Asia, shaping tech ecosystems and securing global supply chains. And the bottom line? The SCO summit's optics and Stubb's warning highlight the same message. America is at a tipping point in its relationship with India. A transactional, tariff-heavy approach will not only drive Delhi closer to rival powers but also weaken US influence in the global south. Cooperation, respect and strategic incentives, not coercion, are what Washington must prioritize if it wants to avoid losing the game. And we need to question, what immediate policy changes can Washington introduce to rebuild trust with India without appearing weak on trade? Could SCO and BRICS financing become a credible alternative to Western alliances for India, or are they just bargaining tools? Which sectors, space, semiconductors or defense, should get immediate tariff relief to prevent strategic drift? Has Trump's tariff shock already repriced India's commitment to the Quad, and what would it take for Delhi to deprioritize it? If India reduces US arms import, how quickly could European or Israeli suppliers fill the gap? Can Washington enforce Russia sanctions and still keep India close? What would a mutually beneficial energy for tech swap look like? Think about it. For more updates and deep insights, keep watching The Global Eye.